Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Campus Legends. As I was trying to load up the game that I was playing continuously, and I know this game has gotten updates and everything else, so overall, um, there has been some, working progress things in this game, and every single time I would try to load up my game that would start at 2027 to 2028, it would hit to that screen where you'd be at the staff leaving, people leaving, and stuff like that. And um, overall, it would just not load to the next. It will, freeze, and then it'll give you that message of like if you are on Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, if that's even around, or Microsoft Edge or something like that, and it's not loading fast enough of how you're clicking, and then it has like that little dim white screen, and then it pops up of, do you want to wait until the program responds, or do you want to just close it out? And then um, I did like a separate uh, Fresh Face, Season Pro, Rising Star. I'll just stick with Season Pro because that's what I did last time, and I just want to have a little bit of challenge, not have it like too easy for me, and have everything already 85 and stuff like that. And I just think that it'd be, I can recruit and get, hire people and stuff like that, which would be nice because UWGB is a way small school, or it's a Division One school, but for market like wise and basketball players, it is a very small market in the Horizon League, one of the like kind of smaller market conferences, or the smallest market conference, but it's still, it gets um I'd say it gets, quite an appearance and stuff like that with the women's side of things for University of Green Bay. So they've been doing pretty well. But other than that, um, back to what I was saying, that I would load in, and then I also like started a whole new one, and then it would say uh, like you click the resume, new gamer, load game, and clicked on resume, and it would go to the um, UWGB, but like 2024. And I know within this game for like them doing some other bug fixes, but then they adjusted the game that it starts in 2025 to 2026 now. So they try to make it like real time of as years are going by, you're starting at that year. But what I do like about this game, it is, it's fun to see like what your team is going to progress, but the only thing I kind of dislike about this game overall is recruiting. You only get like a week of recruiting, and it's at the end after the season is over. And that's it. And then if you are in the midst of getting somebody, but they haven't, um, uh, essentially committed, or just overall, that you will get some random walk-ons that are like 58 overall just to fill in your roster, and that's not always the case in every single team aspect. Maybe if I did play for like a bigger market school like Kentucky or Duke, maybe it would be different. But overall, it's not every player is worth of a 58 overall. Like there could be some people that are 66 and on the Cups line of like, hey, we wanted you, but we don't have the number of scholarships available. So if you could walk on for a year, um, whether it be, and then they possibly, whatever the case may be, could redshirt them, and then, you know, they have them for, they still have 4 years of eligibility after their freshman year because they redshirted them. So, um, after being a walk-on and stuff, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, now you're on scholarship. We have that available because they've continued to have that great work ethic and stick with the program and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be. But nowadays, it's people are trying to get the best for their life in the NIL scene and all that jazz. So everything changes nowadays. But with these points, I'm going to put 2 to each of these, and then put 4 to recruiting. That way it gives me a 79 points, or 79 like kind of overall or whatever status on recruiting, and still upgrading offense, defense, and training as well. So we are going to be 25 years old, seasoned pro, just kind of keeping it that way, and all that jazz. So we will continue generating stuff, all that jazz, and overall, our season expectations is 14-16. Top teams, Washington. So they don't have NCAA licenses to essentially put the actual like team, but like if it's like a state or something like that, they probably get away with it, because it's like, for example, Duke. They didn't put Duke, they put the city that they're in, which is Durham. But if it's like, North Carolina, Oregon, Arizona, and if there's multiple in, Washington or stuff like that, they do put the city name, so they do cover that. And then all of these guys are obviously not the real names of the athletes that they're AI or whatever random generated, so and stuff like that. And it could be like coincidental, oh yeah, that name is on the actual roster of the players, but it's like they could be saying, hey, it's kind of like AI generated names, so it'd just be coincidental that would happen. So overall, so then we have Sean Harris, who is a senior. He's 93 overall with the potential of 95, or potential overall within like kind of like training and stuff like that, like NBA 2K, where they have that potential of progressing, so to speak. So 95 potential, 97 with 93 for Yassine Wright in Indianapolis. For that team, and then Imani Robinson, that's a guard from the school Wisconsin, who is a junior. Oh, Yassine is a senior. 92 overall with the 99 potential. Then 85 potential with 92, junior forward Theodore Henry of Wyoming. And then Arlington, Charles Murphy, the guard, junior, 92 overall with a 91 potential overall. So we can go into the news like I've kind of looked at before, kind of see the schedule. We can see the standings of whether it be the top 25 and stuff like that. So like for example, Wisconsin with the Heartland, so they don't have the actual conference name too as well. And this game is also on Steam, with being interested if you like simulators and try to recruit and everything. Try to be real when it comes to this, and also kind of play on too as well. And then there's also coaching carousel and stuff like that within this game that you've probably seen in other videos according to this. So this is kind of like a round 2 because of the game wasn't loading and everything, and simply continuing moving on to trying to make Green Bay a decent team within me playing around and stuff. I'm going to try different avenues, whether it be try to get like at least one big guy, whether it be a 3-4 star, and then a couple of like 2 stars, and see if that will progress. But with also Green Bay being a small market school, it can be hard to get those higher up players. So we have Duke, that's number 1, North Carolina, in the ACC, which they have as Atlantic, Kentucky in the SEC, so they have that as Southeast. Pacific Coast could be like the Pac-12 with Arizona too as well. For that, the Great Plains. For Kansas, which I forget what that would be. Then you got Virginia in the Atlantic. Heartland is the Big Ten, so East Lansing State, which would be Michigan State. Pac-12 for Oregon for basketball. ACC with Louisville. West Lafayette is Purdue. That would be the Heartland. And apparently the first game we are facing Purdue. It's the first game of the season. Florida in the SEC. Wisconsin in the Heartland. Arkansas Southeast, Connecticut in the Northeast, Villanova in the Northeast. So that would be your Northeast. I forget what conference they're in. Heartland with Michigan, Great Plains with Waco. So with some of these schools, and I'm kind of drawing a blank right now, really kind of thinking of what would be all these conferences. So Sunshine, Sunbelt, Continental, can't really think of anything. Atlantic is the ACC, the Great Plains is drawing a blank. The Northeast is drawing a blank too. Then Pacific Coast is your Pac-12. Southeast is the SEC. Your Heartland is the Big Ten. Mountain could also be like the Mountain West. Patriot, Celebration, Horizon, League, Conference, Horizon, Celebration, could be Conference USA, Patriot. But I know basketball and football are, they're different, but they're not different. Obviously, basketball has more teams, but overall, there's similarities when it comes to conferences and stuff like that. So, I know there's like the Big 12. There's the Big East, that is the Northeast, the Big East. So you'd have your UConn, Villanova, Marquette, Butler, I think it is. And then, what is Continental? Memphis, Wichita, North Texas, New Orleans. SMU, Dallas Methodist, Philadelphia Baptist. What would that be? South Florida, Marsh, East Carolina, Coastal Florida, Murray, Southern Florida. That's just drawing a blank right now. But overall, Norfolk, Durham Central, Houston, Southern A&M, Grambling. Yeah, this is all drawing a blank, unless if this is completely different than what I'm thinking about for football and stuff. Hampton, Lawrenceville, Townsend, Monmouth, Delaware. Yeah, it may be completely different, because they also could have, within this game, I think, is they kind of matched it with real life stuff. So they tried to make it, and then you can see conference brackets, national brackets. So kind of going over the game a little bit again. I know it may bore some people, but overall, I haven't touched it in a little bit, and I wanted to bring the series back after a while that I've got time to record these videos and stuff. So What we have for our roster right now is Steve Champman. He's a redshirt junior. He's a forward, 76 overall with 96 potential. Then we got Nigel Matthews, that is a junior, a forward as well, 71 with a 74 potential. Simpson Murphy, sophomore guard, 70 overall with a 78 potential. And Phil Harvey, who is a senior, he's a center, 70 overall with a 78 potential. Our overall is a 67. With real life, Green Bay used to have the men play at the Resch Center in Green Bay. That is right next to Lambeau Field. And the women would play at the university. Now, with the amount of kind of like ticket sales and stuff, and with last year having, because I had season tickets for the first year of Doug Gottlieb coaching, overall, I see the passion that he has and that he strives to be, but I know people kind of, debate on because of his broadcasting career and stuff like that they're like, yeah, he's more focused on podcasts and all that stuff and doesn't really care about coaching. But overall, in general, you can tell if someone is making a mistake, he is going to take you out of the basketball game. Like, there's no, like, yeah, there's like no room for mistakes that you should be doing. Obviously, if it's like a little, maybe one little mistake, but you know you're gonna, pick up from it and stuff like that, you may not be out of the game right away, but like if there's like maybe one or two right away off the bat, like you should know what you're kind of doing, because that's his mentality of how he coaches things. Then at the next, dead ball when substitutes are coming in, you're out of the game. So overall, we will see in time of what's going to happen in a real life situation. So we got a guard, Richard Senior, that will basically be walking out after this year with a 54 overall. Junior Ortega with a 60 overall forward. He's a freshman. Wayne Morales, this is a sophomore forward, is 61. Then we got Rudolph Potter, that's a sophomore guard at 61. Thomas Wong, a freshman forward, that is a 62. Sophomore guard, that's a 63 overall. A 63 overall freshman forward. A freshman center as a 66. A freshman center as a 68. Then we have, that's Jeremy Murray, Omar McDaniel, Mike Payne, Nick Taylor for those guys. And then Quentin Sutton, a sophomore guard, that is a 70 overall. And then it brings up to the top four that we mentioned on the starting screen, overview screen. Then we got my staff. So I have me as the head coach. We have assistant coach, that is a 64 on offense, 61 on defense, and training is a 64 with recruiting. That's what I would rec, but it's kind of like recruiting as a 73. Then we got BJ Zimmerman, that is a 72 offense, 63 defense, 64 in training, and 63 in recruiting. Then we got Austin Hicks, that is a 31 years of age, 65 in offense, 66 in defense, training as a 60 and 65 in recruiting. They all have 1 year contracts. Okay. And then after that, you kind of, everybody has a 1 year contract, I guess. Then after that, you can kind of graduate assistants. You can pick up off of free agency too, or they get, plopped in, or your assistant coaches, and then training staff. We got training, 72, 69, rehab, 70 and 60, and then condition, I believe, 62 and 67 with 1 year deals as well. So our schedule, we can kind of change things up. Like we can change it to where we are not facing Purdue the first game, and we can play Pittsburgh Catholic. And then we would swap it, so it'd be a 67 over a 69. So that way we are not getting our butts kicked, especially when it comes to interconference. The interconference is tough, but it seems like most of them are within our range, so we will see. So I kind of make it comparable for having decent matchups until our overall grows. So we will swap to Pittsburgh Catholic on that. Louisville, we will be swapping to Colorado. Connecticut or Yukon, we will switch to Gulf Coast. Niagara will stay there. Indianapolis, we'll have one kind of tough that's out of range. That will be fine. And then the rest of them are staying. So that way we got one kind of tough match up, so to speak. And then the rest is we can't change because it's all conference. Illinois Metropolitan, Fort Wayne, Purdue, Fort Wayne, Brookings State. I think about it, but I can't really put the name to the face when it comes to that because obviously these aren't the true names of the colleges. And then Minnesota Catholic. Think about it, but then it just like throws off Colonial. It's an actual like Robert Morris Colonials, and Cleveland State, Fargo State, and a lot of this stuff is all these conferences changes with the NCAA and kind of competition and stuff like that. Like the Horizon League used to have Butler back in the day, like 2010s or whatnot, especially in NCAA 10. Butler was in the Horizon League, and now I think they're in the Big East or in the Ivy League and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff changing within this year or last year or something like that. North Kentucky, and a few other colleges joined the Horizon League within the past like year or so. So things change and try to make it competitive. That's what they can do. So overall, I've in the past have changed things out, but unless if people get injured, then I'll change it. But I kind of just let it do its own thing, because once I just let it adjust itself, it literally won games and stuff and all that jazz. So I'm not going to really worry about it. And if there is a player or two that are freshmen, I will redshirt them. So we will do that. So this Junior Ortega, and we will redshirt him. And there was another guy, I think it was Omar McDaniel, because as of right now they're not really in the rotation. So I wish he could redshirt them, because there's already like position wise 3 centers, and it's going to be mainly these 2 centers, and one of them is a 68 and a 70, and then forwards we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the lowest one. So if you redshirt one, you'll at least they'll progress and stuff and all that jazz. And then obviously the X's are the spots that we can't because they've been already redshirted. So so hopefully we have a good season this year within this game. Player stats and stuff that you can check. So now with changing a little bit, our expectation is 15 and 15 and not 14 and 16. and this all stayed the same. So we will get right into the first start of the non-conference part of the game. Usually that's what I like to do, is kind of split it up where non-conference is first and then conference, and then see how we go from there. So regular season, can't change anything now. All that stuff. So we will advance and sim through Pittsburgh Catholic, and hopefully we get the win, and we do. 68-77. We had a 54% field goal with 50 on 3 points, 50 on free throw, 30 rebounds. So total rebounds was equivalent to each other. Both had equivalent turnovers. I'm trying to not to also get into too much of detail and just only focus on my team. I know before I would say 5 more steals in there, stuff like that, and then we had 1 more block, but overall it seems like a pretty even game, except we hit 1 more 3, or no, 1 more free throw out of attempt wise, and then we had 6 more threes, so that would add up 18 points for 6 more threes and stuff. So 1 by 9, and we are in Pittsburgh. So our top guy was Samson Murphy, 28 points. Quentin Sutton had 8 total rebounds, and Samson Murphy had 5 assists. So then, 28 points. Phil Harvey had 5. 20 for Quentin. 13 for Steve. 10 for Chapman. And then Mike Payne only had 1 point from the bench. So must focus on total rebounds and assists and stuff like that. So then we have the 4 that did not play. So we will get out of this and sim against Colorado. We're both 1-0 on the year, and we have 1 by 1. We had 37.9 in field goal, 39.4, 82.6 in free throw, so that's an improvement. 30 total rebounds, so they out-rebounded us, but still got our 30. Got 8 steals, which is nice. Less turnovers, that's what we would like to see, and more personal fouls, which is what we don't want. And then 3 points, they only made 4 out of 12. Made 13 out of 33, 22 out of 58 overall. So only made 9 more. Yeah, because field goals is anything. I think we only made 9 more buckets out of 58 for 2-pointers. And then 19 for 23. So we're good on that. And then 16 for Quentin. Samson Murphy had 6, and then Quentin had 7 assists. So we'll just kind of look. 12, 13, 16, 15, and 15. So all our starting 5 got double digits. Played a lot of minutes. So 2, 2, and 1 for the bench. So 5 points overall for the bench, which is pretty good overall. So we're 2-0 on the season. It's got to get 13 more wins. And hopefully our non-conference we can do pretty decent. 84-66. So we had 50 field goal percentage, 42.6 on 3-point, 77.8. So a lot better on the free throw. 38 total rebounds, 1 block, 7 steals. All right, we had more turnovers, which we don't like to see, and more fouls. Depending on the situation, fouls you really can't control. Overall, almost won by 18. So Quentin had 24 and 4 assists, and Samson Murphy had 10 total rebounds. 13, 24, 7, 9, and 14 for the starting 5. And then 6, 4, 3, and 4 for the bench. So that is it for the Gulf Coast. We have Niagara coming up, and we won by, say 30, but it was 25. So 45% of the field goal, 36 3-point wise. Free throw a little bit less than what I would want, 57.9. Obviously, you'd want 100%. But obviously, misses happen. You can't control it, and it's simulation. I can't control it regardless. So 43 rebounds, 3 blocks, 7 steals, 2 less than last game. So, we're down on the turnovers, but still, I wouldn't want 16 turnovers overall regardless. And then 10 personal fouls, so a little bit less, but overall, I can't control overall because it could have been a situation where, it happens or it's just a shooting foul. So Jeremy Murray, for the first time on this board, got 16 points. Nigel Matthews, the first time, getting 9 total rebounds. And Samson Murphy with 3 total assists. So 7, 7, 5, 11, 8 for the starting 5 here. And then Jeremy Murray from the bench helped out and got 16. Mike Payne with 6, 2 for Nick Potter with 8, and 4 for Thomas Wong. And off to Indianapolis, which is the kind of tough opponent that we have within the schedule. And we lost by 10. Just kind of expecting it, but I wanted they have the Yassine right, so I just wanted to see what the team would be like overall. Just having at least one tough opponent and not have it full of Purdue and Big Ten and Big East opponents. So Steve Chapman had 17. Samson Murphy had 9 total rebounds and 4 assists. At 40% from the field goal percentage, 3-point at 40, 55.6 at free throw, 36 total rebounds, 2 blocks, 3 steals, 18 turnovers, which I don't like to see, and 14 personal fouls. So that is Indianapolis. So we had 9 for Murphy, 15 for Harvey, 8 for Quentin. Steve had 17, 9 for Matthews, and then 2, 6, and 3 for the backups, which is Mike, Rudolph, and Thomas. So we're going to go to Stony Brook. 4-1. It's okay. We'll bounce back. Win by 8. We had 47.3 on the field goal percentage, 56.5, 50 on the free throw, 32 total rebounds, 2 blocks, 8 steals, 18 turnovers, and 12 personal fouls. Quentin Sutton had 21 points and 5 assists, and then Steve Chapman had 11 total rebounds. So that is Stony Brook. So we had 15, 6, 21, 9, and 13 for the starting 5. And then 6, 1, and 2 for Murray, Nick, and Rudolph. And we're going to go to Lorman State. We are 5-1 on the year so far. And we won by 17. We're also in the top for conference standing overall. We obviously haven't played anyone in conference, so that will be in the parentheses of the conference record. But as of right now, we are 6-1, and we'll kind of look at our stats here for the year. That 75.9 points per game is 41st, 34 in the rebounds with 35 points average per game. 11 assists is 106th. Got 79th for steals at 7. 1.4 blocks is 163rd. 16.7 total turnovers is 177th. Our field goals is 140th with 45.4. 3.45 is 33rd, and I don't know what MOV is, but 9.7, that is 32nd. So we're kind of middle to the bottom, essentially. Or some stuff were towards the top and the others were like towards the bottom. So we just had Lorman State here, 45.5% on the field goal, 50 on the 3-point, 77.8 on free throw, 36 rebounds, 5 steals, 1 block, 16 turnovers, and 14 personal fouls. Samson Murphy had 15, 13, 12, 15, and 11 for the starting 5. And then 4, 4, 1, and 3 for Jeremy, Nick, Rudolph, and Thomas. Overview with Samson and Nigel Matthews. It could have been either one for the points leader for 15. And he also has 3 assists. And then Chapman with 9 total rebounds. Overall, nice win. And we move on to Stillwater State, which I believe is Oklahoma State. And we lost by 6, and we lose Rudolph and Wayne Morales. We're going to auto that. So it's 1 game for 1, and 2 games for the other with the twisted ankle. And it seems like we are maybe progressing. We can bring that down to a 5, or yeah, we'll bring it down to a 5. But severity is minor, so at least it's 1 to 2 games, not like the rest of the season. So we did lose by 6 to Stillwater State. 54.4 on the field goal, 43.3 on the 3-point, 63.6 on the free throw, 27 total rebounds, blocks is 1, steals is 6, 20 turnovers, which were going in the wrong direction. We're supposed to limit that, and 12 on the personal fouls. Got 18 for Samson on the points, and then Steve's got 7 rebounds and 5 assists for the leaders. Stillwater State. This is GB. So Samson with 18, Phil 14, 13 for Quentin, 15 for Nigel, and 12 for Steve. 2 for Jeremy, and then he must have got it for practice if he did not play. And Rudolph Potter with 2. So one of our backups and one of the guys that barely touches the court. So if at all any. So either way, I don't like seeing players that are injured. So we have top performers kind of in the middle of our non-conference, as we are 6-2. Quentin with 14.9. Quentin also with 3.6 assists, and that is it. The rest is Samson with 6.5 rebounds, 1.8 steals, and 0.3 blocks. So, and these values will kind of change throughout time. So we move on to the next game, and we won 100. So Rudolph is back, 102-94 against San Diego. Part of the Pac-12. Quentin has 24 points. Nigel has 8 total rebounds. The first time he's on the leaderboard for this. And 5 assists for Steve Chapman. Almost equivalent to each other on field goal percentage with 57.4. They had 57.8. And then we got 55.2% on the three-point line, 63.2 on the free throws, 23 total rebounds, no blocks, 6 steals, 10 turnovers, which is what I'd like to see, and 10 personal fouls. They had 12,222 in attendance that game. Look at the box score, and 22, 24, so Steve and Quentin, 46 points together. And then Simpson had 10, Phil had 19, Nigel had 11, Murray had 4, 2 for Mike, Nick with 2, Thomas with 3, and Rudolph Villarreal, not Potter, had 5. So, on to the next one. Against San Marcos State. We are 7-2 overall. We get Wayne Morales back, and we won by 9 or 11, not 9. I was thinking of 79-70, but it's 81-70. We got Steve Chapman with 22 points and 12 total rebounds, and Quentin with the 5 assists. Field goal 43.1, 3-point 33.3, 71.4 on the free throw, 45 total rebounds, 10 steals, 3 blocks, 12 turnovers, and 11 personal fouls. Go to the box score. So Sampson and Chapman tied with 22, so 44 for the top 2 guys, 5 for Phil, Quinn with 14, 12 for Nigel, and then 2 for Jeremy, Mike, and 2 for Potter. So Villarreal didn't have a chance to get in because Potter was out. So we will kind of see what is going on, if anything. I know like some of this will boost up. So throughout the year, Chapman has a boost of 3-point at +1, +1 for blocking, and then 6-point, or not 6.9, but 1 for whatever that is, interior defense, perimeter defense, steal and block all get a +1, 3-point plus for Quentin, then a -1 for Junior Ortega for blocking, stuff like that. But we can bump it back up to a 6 for right now. The red shirts, Ortega, and stuff like that. So that does not change. And then it comes to conference, which is the first one is Illinois Metropolitan. And we are 8-2. So with us trying to beat the expectation, 15-15, we just got to win 7 more games overall. Yeah. Because if we were 9-1, it would be 6 games. So we just got to win 7 games in the conference. Obviously, we would like to win more than 7. And try to get the higher seed in the conference tournament. Try to beat the conference tournament, and then obviously get into the national tournament. That is the goal. But that may not always be the case. So we'll kind of give a rundown of what it looks like in the conference. So we got Detroit, Colonial, Cleveland, and Fort Wayne all at the bottom with 1-9. Then we got Minnesota Catholic, Western Illinois, and Oakland at 2-8. And then we got Youngstown, North Kentucky, Brookings State, Illinois Metropolitan at 3-7 apiece. Indiana Lutheran at 4.6, Fairborn at 5-5, Milwaukee and Fargo State at 6-4, and we are at 8-2. Now, could that be because a lot of them have tougher competition, and we're kind of trying to ease our ways into the conference? Could be, or it's just overall we have a decent, solid team with a decent, solid system for our offense and defense that we are able to get stuff done. With that being said, our points have boosted up a little bit. There were 75 points something, and now it's a 79.6, and that is 14th ranked. Rebounds have went from 35 to 34, and that is 50th. We kind of stayed in the 11 point something range for the assist, and that is 85th. Steals is 7.1. It's been teetering from 6.5 to 7, but it's at 7.1 at 68th. Then we got blocks of 1.4. I think it was maybe 1.6, but still in the 1.4 to 1.6 range at 170th. That is red, meaning that's kind of at the lower portion of the nation. Turnover still at a high of 15.9. We kind of need to boost that down in order for us to, score more and eliminate turnovers. Field goal percentage 47.1. That is 93rd. That's in the yellow. As well as steals, assists, and rebounds. And then the greens are the points, the 3-point percentage, and the MOV. With 3-point being 44.2 and 8.1 for the MOV, 29th and 35th, respectively. So, and this is the only, kind of suggestion that I would like is recruiting to happen in this point. Because in the real world, you're recruiting throughout the season as well. Or unless if they aren't in the NCAA, but I wouldn't highly doubt, like with every sport there is recruiting throughout the sport time, because with basketball it's usually done in the winter, so there's going to be recruiting and also college basketball happening in the winter, at least in the United States. And then football as well, it happens the same time as football. And then people either commit or they do visits and stuff like that, see the atmosphere, see how it is, try to get the taste and feel of if it's a good fit for them. And obviously, academically, if it's a good fit for them, and stuff like that. So overall, I just wish this game had, instead of like a week period of trying to get people, because you're trying to get them to commit after week 1 with the people that you really need, and if you don't get them, then you're kind of SOL. And especially if you're putting a lot of points and you don't have much points, well, then you're not getting the people that you really want to have, star wise, whether it be a 2, 3, 4, or 5 star. Then you're just getting people that you don't really want on the roster, and that's not what you kind of want in this game. But overall, I'm going to try and do the best that I can within this team and continue moving forward, because that's what you got to do. And with the games that I've played, even with this school, it kind of didn't seem to go my way, because it is a small market team, but I will do my best to try and get people that can kind of build together, and especially each player. If I were to go to my roster, have balanced 3-and-D, 3-and-D, stretch, combo guard. Like if you try to, put certain people with certain attributes, then hopefully it will help in the long run of overall this is what you're striving to do with the team, and what kind of archetype you want your kind of playbook to be um, overall. And reports, so it's kind of still the same. -1, nothing really changing, and then 3-point with Quentin getting a +1. So overall, it's been kind of decent within our team, and we have as a points leader Amani Robinson from Wisconsin. Played 10 games, started 10 games, and he's averaging pretty much 29 points a game. So overall, we don't have a person that would be that high. I think Quentin is our first one. So I mean, we've had like some 20-point games, but Quentin is the first one. 15.7. And then we have Samson Murphy at 15. And then Steve Chapman at 14.2. But overall, sometimes when it comes to this game too, is that depending on your opponents and everything, that it may strive in the non-conference, and then the conference is kind of a toughie where the averages go from being kind of a little higher than what you would think, and then it kind of just tapers it down because of the conferences being so either strong or just overall simulated, kind of comparatively, kind of the same. So that being said, kind of just stopping my ramble and stuff like that. But overall, if you are interested in this game, it is on Steam, and stuff like that. And there's also like a other games out there too that are some like this, whether it be pro style of being a manager and stuff like that. But I played NCAA Basketball 10 on the PS3 and always enjoyed that and everything else, and always wanted to see what game simulator games would be out there. And there's pro sports, and then there's other manager type simulators, and then this game that's a simulator and stuff like that. So feel free to like and subscribe to the channel if you have made it this far into the video, and have a good one.